The 2024 Detroit Lions training camp has officially opened, and boy, could it have not started any better as it started out with a bang. And we're going to talk about it in this episode, folks, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in. And I am so thankful to be able to record this episode because we finally have some stuff to talk about that's actually first and foremost Lions news, but it has to do with training camp. Thank God training camp is finally here. We're actually going to start hearing some practice reports. We're actually going to start hearing about what's going on in practice. Who's doing what, how they're doing, so on and so forth. Now, obviously, we haven't gotten to padded practices just yet. That's not going to happen until Monday next week. But the point of the matter is that the players are there, they are doing walkthroughs, they are doing different types of practice drills, so this is a chance to actually start talking about some stuff that actually is happening at practice. Now, I'm not going to talk about everything that happened at practice. What I'm specifically going to be talking about is probably the biggest thing that caught everybody's notice, and that was about Jameson Williams and his one particular play where he went deep. Now, everybody was talking about the fact that he split the coverage down the middle, he got past the coverage, and he went in for a touchdown. That is absolutely great. That's awesome. I'm going to show a freaking, clip of it here so that way you guys can see it because it is an awesome play. It's awesome to see this stuff. But just talking about the play in general, just talking about the fact that it looks great to see is one thing. There's more to this than just talking about a deep play. There's more to this than just J-Mo making a play. And that's what I wanted to talk about here as we start talking about training camp with this opening episode, so to speak, this opening salvo. Because let's think about this, folks. When it comes to Detroit Lions players right now, I'm telling you this, there is no player that's on the Lions roster currently that is more controversial for people at this moment than that of frickin' Jameson Williams. It used to be Jared Goff. Now it's not. Jared Goff is firmly embedded in the Detroit Lions culture. He's firmly embedded in the Detroit Lions community. He's pretty much going to stay here for the next 5 years, and he's considered now probably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play for the Detroit Lions. That's no longer an issue. But when we're talking about controversial figures right now that's on the roster, Jameson Williams, J-Mo, he is definitely that figure. And the reason why is because there are two different types of camps when we're taking a look at Jameson Williams. You have one camp that looks at Jameson Williams and they're like, hey, you know what? He's had some tough breaks. He's had some things that have not gone his way, but the kid still has immense talent. He has immense potential. The ball club still believes in him. The players still believe in him. Coach Campbell, Brad Holmes, Jared Goff, they all still believe in him. So we're not going to give up on him yet. Let's just see what happens this year before we start just calling for his head or before we start putting the bust label on him. That's the one camp. The other camp here is talking about the other side of this where people are like, dude, I'm done giving him chances. I'm done talking about it. I've already thrown him off my radar. I don't care about him. He's a bust. He's never going to get anything done. I'm not making any more excuses for him, blah, 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 blah. So you have one side that still has hope and optimism, where you have another side that's a bit more on what I would call the negative spectrum, almost kind of like, dude, why are we even still talking about Jameson Williams until he's actually done something? And again, I understand where both sides of the spectrum are coming from. But let's understand where these camps need to kind of come together a little bit and take a look at what we just witnessed here to start the training camp period, and then take a look at everything that's happened this offseason with the mini camp, the OTAs, what Coach Campbell has said. Let's just take a look at that, put that all into one all-encompassing, comprehensive package. And let's talk about that. Because think about this, folks. This offseason was a huge offseason for Jameson Williams for two main reasons. The first main reason was, one, he was going to actually be able to practice and he didn't have to worry about anything that was going into the season. First and foremost, in in his rookie season, he couldn't practice because of the injury. Going into his second season, while he could practice, he couldn't do anything because of the fact that, he was going to have to deal with a gambling suspension. So there was that. Now we're going into this season. He's not injured. He doesn't have any, pending, litigation or any sort of things from the NFL affecting him. He can go at this full bore. He doesn't have to worry about anything. And now he's had at least a full season of being healthy, being in the offense, being able to understand everything, working with Jared Goff. So now he's not second-guessing himself. He's not thinking nearly as much. He's able to go out there and play his game. He's able to go out there and play loose, play natural. We heard freaking Amon-Ra St. Brown say that. He said, listen, he's looking like he is more relaxed, he is more at with himself than he has ever been. And that's what happens as players get comfortable. They stop thinking, they stop, trying to figure out what they're doing. They just do. They just go out there, they play their game. And that's what we're seeing more and more out of Jameson Williams. We've heard about it all this offseason. But this freaking play that's being talked about from training camp is definitely what I would call a huge kind of like, hey, pay attention. This is kind of like the culmination of that whole thing. Because think about it. Jameson Williams, as we've been hearing from Coach Campbell, he came into the OTAs and minicamp, as Coach Campbell said, a man on a mission. Coach Campbell said that he was the most improved player out of any player that he saw coming into the camps. And that is a huge, huge thing for Jameson Williams. That's a huge kind of like, hey, feather in my cap, because that right there tells me two things. One, Jameson Williams has been putting in work this offseason, but also number two, Coach Campbell took note of it. And the fact that Coach Campbell took note of it is big. That right there is going to go a huge way for him. But then when you start thinking about this play, you start thinking about this pass. I understand it's passing, it's it's not padded, there's not really a whole lot of things going on here, but just think about it. Jameson Williams and Jared Goff. When it comes to that combo, there have been a lot of people that have tried to say over and over and over again that there was never going to be the kind of deep ball connection that they were expecting when we drafted Jameson Williams, because so many people over the years have had this misconceived idea that Jared Goff simply does not have the arm strength to throw the ball deep to Jameson Williams. But we have seen Jared Goff throw deep balls to different wide receivers that have been on this team outside of Jameson Williams. Because last year he did it to Jameson Williams. You don't believe me? Go back to the one play in freaking Dallas where he got hurt. Jared Goff heaved that ball down the field about a good 50 yards on a bomb. Then we've seen him throw it to players like DJ Chark and also to Khalif Raymond. Jared Goff has the ability to throw the ball deep. The problem more has been about developing chemistry, has been about trying to develop timing, developing rhythm, being able to make sure that Jared Goff and Jameson Williams are on the same page. Well, if you take a look at that play, Jameson Williams is obviously going to be working with the ones because he's going to be wide receiver number 2. And wide receiver number 2, unless you're talking about a heavy package, is always going to be on the field. So, obviously, Jared Goff is the one that threw him the ball, unless there's a report that says otherwise, which I haven't been able to find. So I'm taking a highly speculative but very educated guess to say, okay, Jared Goff threw the ball to Jameson Williams. Well, if you take a look at that pass, Jameson Williams is not having to slow down at all. He's pretty much off to the races. It's catch and he's still running. It's not, I'm slowing down, and then I'm catching and then trying to re-speed up. Freaking Jameson Williams, he's just off to the races. As soon as he catches it, he's just gone. There's no stopping, there's no slowing down, nothing. So what you're seeing in that play is that Jameson Williams and Jared Goff's timing, their ability to understand how to work with each other within their route concepts and also, where the ball needs to be, how the ball needs to be thrown, it's all coming together. There is a progression between these two men in terms of trust, in terms of their timing. The development has been getting much further along probably this offseason than any other offseason prior to. Think about it. Last offseason, Jared Goff and Jameson Williams probably got the most time that they had because, again, the rookie year, Jameson Williams was still pretty much trying to get his feet wet because he was dealing with an injury for most of the year. So they were trying to get just some of the basics down last year. Now it's like, okay, You've had a full offseason last year to work. Then you had most of the regular season last year to work. Now you're coming into your next offseason. At this point, Jameson Williams and Jared Goff should be almost right on spot with how each other is looking in terms of passes, looking at coverages, being able to understand what the other wants from the person. So for me, when I take a look at what this play is, I am very, very happy. I'm very proud of what Jameson Williams has been able to accomplish this offseason. Because it looks like, number one, he's been able to put on weight, which is definitely going to help him with his ability to stay healthy. Because prior to it, he was kind of looking a little skink. He was kind of, gaunt. That was the wrong word. He was kind of looking a little bit skinny. He was looking like if he took a hit, he was going to get freaking, smashed. Now he looks like he's put on some muscle. He's put on some weight. So, okay, that's going to help out his ability to stay healthy. But he's still maintaining the speed. And then when you take a look at these passes that we're seeing, even though it is practice, even though it's not padded, it shows the progression that Jared Goff and Jameson Williams have done together to get themselves in this spot. My whole point is that when you see this just to start training camp, I'm telling you this right now. People have been asking a question this entire offseason. Well, should we go out and get another wide receiver? Do we have to go get another wide receiver because we no longer have Josh Reynolds? I first and foremost don't think Josh Reynolds is going to be missed when we got guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones, Khalif Raymond, Traquan Smith. Those are all guys that are vying for that job. But when you take a look at plays like this to start training camp, it already tells me that, again, Jameson Williams is going to have a significant involvement with this offense, and I would not at all be surprised if the Lions throw a lot more deep shots this year, so that way Jameson Williams can get involved in more than just screens, short plays, end arounds, whatever the case might be. I'm telling you, folks, I might be reading a little into this for some people, but when I take a look at this, I'm telling you, if you're already throwing plays like this out there to start training camp, pay attention to it, because I'm telling you, it's going to continue to pop up throughout all of training camp. And once we get to the regular season games, I would not at all be surprised if we start seeing Jared Goff and the Lions take more deep shots. I'm not at all going to be surprised. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to make this quick video here because I saw that freaking clip and I was like, dude, there's a lot in that little clip that I can talk about because it's more than just a spectacular play. It's more than just a highlight. It is literally it's a piece of evidence to the work that I'm sure Jameson Williams has put in this offseason and that Jared Goff has put in with him this offseason. I was like, I got to talk about it because it's big to me. But having said that, I'm going to end the episode here, and I want to say thank y'all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, I highly encourage y'all to subscribe. But I also encourage y'all to please make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out in the future. Also encourage y'all to share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel grows and spreads, and the better outreach we have to get more people to join. And with that being said, I hope everybody's having a good day. I hope you all got something that makes you happy, makes you smile. I hope you all enjoyed the content. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.